it on. Want some, get some.
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
You will get Omaha. I can promise you that.
And it's purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down of my soul, and I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
Welcome into the Pirate Preview here on the Sports Objective as the Pirates are traveling down to Denton, Texas to take on North Texas there. And with us right now, we've got our good friend Bubba Rosenbaum. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Dave. Hope you are.
Good. Kyle from LaGrange Barber, how are you?
What's going on, Dave? Yes, another game week. Who would have thought just a few short weeks ago we would be sitting here with 6 wins, playing for win number 7? And who would have thought we would be on a 3-game winning streak and the Mean Green would be on a 4-game losing streak?
I thought it would be the reverse. Bubba Rosenbaum, glad to have our first guest tonight.
Yeah, as we take a look at this matchup between the Pirates and Mean Green on Saturday afternoon, I'm excited to welcome back into the show their play-by-play voice, Dave Barnett. Dave, we appreciate your time this evening.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, Dave. Like your name first off, and glad to have you on the show. Glad to have you on the show tonight. As Pirates have been doing a lot better. It's hard to believe that with a coaching change that it can spark 3 straight wins. But we, as you know, we went through a rough spell there at the middle, more of the early to mid part of the season, and then Coach Houston gets let go, and next thing you know, is 3 straight wins.
Yeah, these are both streaking teams. Pirates going in the right direction, and North Texas going in the wrong direction after starting 5-1. And now there's been a coaching change both places because Eric Morris changed defensive coordinators after losing at UTSA Friday night. So Brian Odom takes over as the interim defensive coordinator. We'll see how much effect he can have with just 1 week to prepare. So that adds, I think, interest to this game. East Carolina's a better balanced team than North Texas. North Texas has been one of the top 3 to 5 offenses in the country all season long, one of the best 3 to 5 quarterbacks in the country all year long, and Chandler Morris. But the defense, while it started much better early this season than last year, they weren't able to sustain it when the schedule got tougher. And the 4 losses in the streak are all against quality opponents: Memphis, Tulane, Army, and UTSA. So, Mean Green are happy to be back home and interested to see how the defensive coordinator change can affect this outcome Saturday.
Yeah, you expect that, we've seen it here. We've seen it here to a whole nother level with Mike Houston getting fired. Blake Harrell coming in, interim head coach, letting John David Baker be wide open on offense. It changed everything. The guys have played really inspired football. 1 week, you fire your DC on Sunday. How are the North Texas players responding in practice? Is it a positive? It's kind of an interesting thing. I looked at it 2 different ways. I could expect them to play really inspired football, but if they really like their defensive coordinator, they may be angry at their head coach about firing him. It's not like when you fire your head coach, nobody gives a piss about the AD. So they were able to rally around Blake Harrell. I was wondering, do you expect the defensive players, or what is the attitude of the defensive players? If you've had any interaction with them at practice this week, are they re-engaged and fired up, or they a little angry that their coordinator was fired?
Well, I think they should be a little embarrassed that they got their coordinator fired. That's to me how players should respond to this. I think they like Matt. Everybody liked Matt Caputo, and A little bit in his defense, he was brought here to institute a defense that I don't know if any of these guys had played in high school, 3-3-5. It was very effective at Iowa State. That's why Eric wanted his defense to play the 3-3-5, because as an offensive guy, Eric always found the 3-3-5 difficult to game plan against. And so he wanted to bring that here. And last year, they figured out very early, I think, that they just did not have the size up front to run the 3-3-5. They were getting very little pressure on quarterbacks, not forcing very many turnovers, and the season kind of settled into a pattern where the offense had to score 50 to have a chance. It's not quite been that severe this year. Early in the season, they were doing better. There were a couple of games that were really encouraging. And so I think the thought was, well, year two of the system, you know, the holdover players are used to it now. And then of the 77 newcomers, the most newcomers of any team in the country, the thought was these are bigger guys and physically more able to play it. That simply didn't bear out during the 4-game losing streak. When the schedule got tougher, they needed the defense to play better, and the defense, with the exception of Army, played pretty well against Army. Couldn't get the Army offense off the field. They had the ball for well over 40 minutes. They had an almost 13-minute scoring drive, but held them to 14 points. And so I think last week at UTSA, the hope was that they would build on that. And instead, they allowed a single-game record total offense, almost 700 yards by UTSA. And so I think back to the players, I think, that plane ride back was very quiet. I've never been on a quieter plane. And so I think the fact that the coaching change happened the next day gave the players time to get used to it. There's a little extra time to prepare after playing last Friday night. And it's not like Eric brought in a brand new guy. Brian Odom had already been coaching the linebackers and was in this very situation last year as an interim defense coordinator for USC, and 2 years before that, interim at OU. So I think the players will respond well. I'll be very surprised if they give up 600 plus yards and have a difficult time getting off the field. I think the fact that coming back home is going to be big. It's senior day. It's the last home game. So I think there are a lot of factors that will make this a better defensive performance. But it would be really hard to be poorer than they were at UTSA. They just simply could not stop them really at any point.
Dave, before we shift over and talk about this high-powered offense of the Mean Green with Chandler Morris at quarterback and a ton of skill talent, and tell us about some of those key contributors on the defensive side at each level.
Well, up front, it's unfortunate because they were hoping for a lot from Jake Shipley, who's an Oregon transfer. He's been hurt much of the year. Nose tackle has been, for the most part, the mainstay of the defensive line. There's a transfer from South Carolina who's also played pretty well. But generally, the strength of this defense has been the secondary. The secondary has gotten most of the turnovers. It's not a defense that gets a lot of turnovers, but there's a redshirt freshman named Brian Nelson who's got 3 interceptions. Army 2 weeks ago, Army had turned the ball over once all season. They had not been intercepted, and Brian Nelson took the ball twice from Army, an interception and a fumble recovery. Leading tackler much of the year has been Jaden Hill, a transfer safety from Ohio Dominican, a school I didn't know existed. The linebackers have been led by Jalen Smith. He's one of the 15 seniors being honored. I'd say probably up front, Terrell Dawkins has been probably the most consistent defensive lineman. He transferred from South Carolina. Before that, he was at North Carolina State.
We look at the Mean Green offense. Obviously, Morris is one of the better quarterbacks in the country statistically. Didn't have his best game against Army. Started off slow against UTSA before lighting it up in the second half. Talk about you guys are one of the best passing offenses in the country. Just talk about the play of Morris and your offense in general.
Well, until the last 2 weeks, he's been as good as just about anybody in the country. In fact, 2 weeks ago, he was leading the nation in passing, and then has been under 300 each of the last 2 games. But leads the nation in 400-yard games, in one-play touchdown drives, has been at or near the top in touchdown passes, points responsible for, completions, passing yards, total yards. He's done everything that he probably is thinking he could have always been doing if he'd been healthy. This is the first year he has been healthy from start to finish. Never really got on the field much at Oklahoma, his first school, and at TCU twice won the starting job and lost it due to injury, including 2 years ago when TCU made the championship game. So this year, he was definitely a man with a mission. And for most of the year, he's looked like one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the country, definitely a guy that could be drafted. He's got 1 more year of eligibility. The last 2 weeks have been difficult. The Army defense didn't have to play him that much because the offense was only on the field about 18 minutes. He had 2 end zone interceptions in the fourth quarter that were killers, and mistakes that he has not made all year. Decisions, forced balls, a little bit also last week at UTSA. So it could be he's pressing with the problems the defense has been having, getting off the field, holding opposing offenses down. I think it would be very understandable if Chandler goes out there feeling like he's got to throw a touchdown pass onto every drive, because much of the year he pretty much has had to. So I think this week Eric's been working on trying to get him back to making good decisions, not taking risks, throwing well on the run, which he's done incredibly well. I think you can probably make an argument he's better, a bigger weapon, escaping the pocket. Can run occasionally. He broke a 49-yard touchdown at Memphis, but the ability to extend plays, look downfield, direct traffic, ad-lib, he is outstanding at that. So this needs to be a game where Chandler returns to form for North Texas to have any chance at all against a hot Pirate team.
Dave, we know you're running short on time, so if you will quickly go over special teams and just your final thoughts on the game.
Some of the best special teams in the country, which has been the case definitely last year. This year, Drew Sabota is the special teams coordinator. Top 2 in the country in not letting teams return punts. The average punt return is about a yard against North Texas. Extremely difficult to return. Kickoffs against Blake Ford is the kickoff specialist, mostly puts them in the end zone touchbacks. The field goal kicker, Carly Nguma, was 1 for 3 to begin the season and has made 9 straight. He's just automatic. And he hasn't had to try very long field goals. His longest so far is 46. He says he can hit from 55. He just hasn't been asked to do that. So special teams are definitely one of the best parts of this team.
Well, Dave, I know you wear many hats. In fact, I know you got basketball. You're a journalism teacher or a professor there at the school. So I know this is a tough time for you right now, but I know you're a pro. You're used to it. But thank you so much for your time. Before we let you go, how can people listen to the game in case they want to get the North Texas side of things and hear your broadcast?
They can listen on the Varsity app. Download that, the Learfield Varsity app. And this week we are on Sirius XM, channel 987. So there you go.
All right. Are you on social media, I take it?
I am. Dave_L_Barnett on Twitter, and on Blue Sky, I am the Dave Barnett.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm glad the weather is going to be good. Sounds like about the same as it's going to be in the Greenville, Eastern North Carolina area. So thank you so much, and we'll see how the game turns out on Saturday.
My pleasure. Look forward to it. Should be fun.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for the time. All right. Appreciate Dave very much for his time, and good luck to him and his broadcast. Obviously, we want the Pirates to win. And guys, I tell you what, I'm fired up about this team winning 3 straight. Just hard. Still, remind myself. This is a funny story. I got to tell you guys really fast. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's a Pirate graduate, and she sends me a picture that says bowling bound or something like that. And she says right after that, "How is this possible?" She had no clue that we had won 3 straight, because she was really down about the Pirates as far as the football team. And I was like, because we've won 3 straight. And it's just amazing to have a person to not know that we've won 3 straight, but I guess it's possible. And I guess there are people that had kind of checked out and maybe thought that we were going to not make it. So anyway,
sounds like a diehard.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like one of those people that thought Mason Garcia was still the same Garcia at quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot believe that Garcia kid is still our quarterback.
Well, to be fair,
Had the last name.
They both sucked. Well, one of them had potential. The other one, I never saw him throw the ball. Look, yeah, I think a lot of people did check out, and it's time to check back in. If you haven't been paying attention, what Blake Harrell's done so far, it's been special. I don't want to hear about the competition, man. I don't remember being a member of the SEC before we played Temple, Florida Atlantic, and Tulsa. We've been playing crap teams all year, but now we're beating them.
Oh, by the way,
that Charlotte outfit that we got beat by last year and dominated by this year, you know, they have been setting the world on fire.
Oh yeah, Charlotte's just they might as well be U.S. I'm trying to think of a team that's winning. Ohio State. Yeah, Charlotte's horrible. Appalachian State is not what they were supposed to be. Liberty, while they're winning games, they're barely winning games and lost to Kennesaw State, who's a 1-win football team. You can keep going.
Yeah, barely survived against UMass. What, won 35-34 in overtime?
Yes, and it took a comeback in overtime, yeah.
And
UMass, missed a PAT, Kyle? Is that right?
I'm not sure. I didn't watch the game. I kept up with the score, but I don't know exactly what happened. I just know they came back to beat them by 1 point. So the people that want to talk about, the schedule, look, it ain't like we've been beating teams by 1 point. And even that game at Tulsa, they had an off week to prepare for the game. They upset UTSA just a couple weeks ago. They're the same UTSA team that just beat North Texas. We were at Tulsa. It's always a tough place for us to play. For whatever reason, it's almost got a rivalry feel to it. People forget that their head coach is a Tar Heel. So I've been impressed with the job Blake Harrell's done so far. We're going to talk about that quite a bit as the show goes on. But really hoping we can take care of business at North Texas this weekend. Dave was talking about expecting North Texas to have played inspired football this weekend. I expect our football team to play inspired football. Blake Harrell has made it all about these seniors and getting them to a bowl game, and I think now it's time for these seniors and the rest of this team to play for Blake. And they want him to be his head coach. Well, they got something they can say about it. Guys, you can control this. I mean, granted, North Texas is going to be trying too. So is Navy. North Texas is up first. But you guys have some say in this. The results you put on the football field will directly affect whether Blake Harrell gets that job or not. So not to put any added pressure on you, but go out there and kick some ass.
And another thing too, guys, is the very fact that, you win as we bring in Matt Semenza, the former linebacker for the Pirates under Steve Logan. Guys, this is a situation where I can't see how we're going to take one game at a time, but 2 games left the regular season and the bowl game. If we went out, I don't see how in the world anybody else deserves a job. I mean,
if we go 8-4 and Blake doesn't get the job, I'm going to lose my mind.
You're going to riot?
I think it'll be. Look, we've made some dumb decisions in the past. I'd rather get this wrong if we go 8-4, or quite honestly, even 7-5. I'd rather get this wrong and hire Blake Harrell than get this wrong and not hire Blake Harrell, because you're doing the right thing. Yep. If you make the wrong decision because you're doing the right thing, I can live with that. I will not talk crap about John Gilbert if this doesn't work out, if we win at least one more and he makes the hire. Now, he needs to make the contract smart. I'd go 3 years instead of 5. And I would, make sure, you don't have to overpay Blake. So you make sure you free up a lot of money to keep John David Baker because I think he's going to be a superstar.
And your other coaches too. That's another.
Well, yes, of course, but JDB in particular. So again, I would rather get this wrong by not. Excuse me. I would rather get this wrong by hiring him than get this wrong by not hiring. But I'd rather not get it wrong at all. Do you guys get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
I hear exactly what you're saying, Kyle. And, I mean, I know I'm definitely pulling for Blake. I would love to see Blake win the next 2 games and get this job. I think he's a great guy. He loves Greenville. And I've been saying that for years, every press conference. And this is going back to when he was the DC, even a few years ago. Always talks highly of Greenville. He loves the environment here. He wants to be here. So I'm hoping it all works out. Now, just kind of a big picture perspective on where we're at, right? 6 wins. That's the minimum requirement for this season, the minimum requirement. So, yes, we're bowl eligible, and that's great, but the job is not nearly complete yet. That is not the ultimate goal, to win 6 games and go to a bowl game. We need to keep playing hard. I do think this team is very motivated right now. This is going to be Blake's toughest test yet as a head coach, and I'll tell you why. Back-to-back road games, all right, with your team fighting kind of a letdown, right? A natural letdown. You became bowl eligible last week, right? Everybody's patting you on the back, telling you how great you are. Now you have to refocus and go on the road again, all right? And that's why this is going to be Blake's toughest test yet. But I'm optimistic. I mean, when you look at North Texas, guys, defensively, they are not a good football team. They get carved up through the air. They're 124th in total defense. They give up a ton of points. They're almost at the bottom of every defensive category when you look at them. This is a huge opportunity, in particular, for our offense and John David Baker to go down to Texas and score a ton of points.
Yeah, and guys, the fact that just think about this scenario. You find a way to win North Texas, right? You come back, and let me say this too. All you people right now that, where we talked about this before, but all the people that were holding out until Coach Houston was gone, get your butts there for Black Friday for Navy. You could be witnessing history, because if we win North Texas, which I think we have a good shot, we'll talk about that and then to show our picks. I feel very good. I feel very, very good about our chances with Navy. Navy is not Army, and I think we're playing a lot better. I talked about it a couple of shows ago. I think this team is peaking at the right time. We're getting hot. And, we gambled, and I'm glad we gambled. We made a coaching change. Sometimes that can go well for you. Sometimes it's not go well for you. This particular time, it provided a spark. And this team is playing way better. And we talked about the talent. So let's get those people there. 1-800-ECU, or you can go to ECUPirates.com, get your tickets. I tell you what, I am fired up about this.
You need to be there whether we beat North Texas or not. We've got 6 wins. It's senior day. Beating Navy to go 7-5. We've never beaten Navy in Greenville. And I don't think he needs to win the next 2. I think he wins one out of the next 2. That's 4-1. Matt mentioned going 6-6. 6 wins is the minimum, requirement for success. Well, he didn't have the opportunity to be the head coach the first 7 games. He only got 5 of these. So at worst he goes 3-2. But let's say he wins one of the next 2. If he beats North Texas, I say take the interim tag off for the Navy game. Take all the pressure off, play free, see what happens. Look, potential letdown because you're bowl eligible. Yeah, I will disagree with that a little bit, Matt. Normally, I would say you're 100% right on that under normal situations. Oh, well, there's 2 Bubbas all of a sudden for those watching.
We got 2 Bubbas.
Now we're back to 1. But the situation where, first of all, you had a couple extra days to get that out of your system. Second, these guys know that they are, they're playing for Blake to try to get this job. So they have a lot to play for still. And, I spoke with someone that's employed by East Carolina, and he said he can guarantee me that if Blake doesn't get the job, that locker room will be empty by the time the bowl game gets here. There will be mass transfers. Now, I think that could be litigated some. if if say Tyson Helton is hired and he retains John David Baker, because I do think that's a possibility with the previous relationship that JDB has with his brother Clay. So I think that could save some players. But that's another thing to keep in mind. Charlotte fired their coach. Florida Atlantic fired their coach. Temple fired their coach. Rice fired their coach. Half the damn league has fired their coach, and we'll have new head coaches. We have a chance. We're in a unique situation here that if we can win one of these next two, to have some continuity, to name Blake head coach. Make sure you come up with a contract to keep John David Baker, keep Hauser at quarterback, and we have continuity going into next year. And with all the turnover, we would be one of the favorites next year, I think, to win the conference. I don't think we would be the favorite, but we would be picked in the top half of the league. Where if you start all over, who knows what's going to happen. Now, if we go get blown out these next 2 weeks, then that conversation's over. But I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I'm not sure we win them both, but I'd be willing to bet a pretty penny we win one of these next two at least. I hope we win them both.
Just to jump in on that 1 second, Kyle, I kind of have a little different take on I know we always hear these rumors if Blake doesn't, and like I said, I'm on record saying I hope he gets the job, but rumors about players leaving, and if he doesn't get it, we're gonna leave the program. You know what? If that's the case, go. We'll be fine. We're gonna be fine either way. I'd prefer to have those players here, but if you're a player and you pick where you're going to go to college based on who the coach is, you've just made a mistake. You cannot pick your college football team based on the coach. These guys are going to come and go. That's the reality of it, right? Commit to your school, commit to your program, and if you don't want to be at ECU, don't be here. That's fine.
I agree with you.
Will be fine.
I agree with you that
be here that would leave is what Kyle.
Well, I agree with Matt in that general sentiment, but I think this is a unique situation. You've already fired their head coach. So now you got a guy, or really a staff, that has been successful. And if they continue to be successful, now I'm not talking about if they lose, Matt. I'm talking about if they continue to be successful and then they don't hire him, they can probably kiss my ass. I might transfer too. Because it's bull crap.
Hey.
Fair is fair.
Hey,
fair
Matt.
is fair.
Matt,
Wait a minute, Dave. Fair is fair. If I'm not talking about if we go 6-6, if we continue to have success and this team keeps winning and we don't retain Blake Harrell, I don't blame these players for wanting to transfer at that point. It would be complete BS.
Kyle's going to be in the transfer portal, Matt.
Well, it would be BS.
Yeah.
When you fire a head coach midseason, and you name an interim coach, look, here's the thing. If you don't want the interim coach to be a candidate, then wait till the end of the season to make your decision. Wait until this week to fire him. Whenever you make a decision mid-season like that, you run the risk of your interim coach becoming a candidate. And you can point to situations where it has worked. Brett Key at Georgia Tech, he was interim head coach. He's done a good job there, beat Miami. Navy, who we played the last game of the regular season, their head coach was their defensive coordinator. They fired Ken Niumatalolo, promoted him to head coach. So there's tons of examples out there. The obvious one is Clemson, where Dabo Swinney started off as interim head coach when they fired Tommy Bowden. But there's plenty of other ones, and ironically enough, Navy is one of them, where you had a guy who was defensive coordinator. They fired their head coach, promote him, and it's worked. He brought in an offensive coordinator that runs the creative spread offense, and they've won. So to finish this point, well, I agree with Matt on the sentiment in general that if you are going to leave because of a coach, you probably shouldn't be here anyway. But in this situation, I think what this person was referring to that told me this, Matt, was if these guys keep winning and Blake doesn't get the job, and I don't blame him. I'll be pissed too because it's not fair. It's not fair. Let's forget 8-4. In that scenario, I think he'll get the job because I think anybody with half a brain would make that decision. But let's say it's 7-5. Let's say we beat North Texas and lose a close one to Navy. Are you telling me we've never beaten Navy in Greenville? Are you telling me we walk out of there, we lose by a touchdown, and that's the only loss we've had under Blake Harrell, that he doesn't deserve the job. These guys haven't done everything they could. I mean, I just don't see anybody out there, and I love Tyson Helton, but I don't see anybody out there that excites me to the point where I'm ready to blow all this up unless it completely goes to crap the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and also the fact, guys, when you look at Blake Harrell, he knows these kids. He knows Greenville. He knows he's obviously a great recruiter. I mean, there's so many reasons why you want this guy. When you hear the old adage, a guy that could, you would drink a beer with. Blake Harrell's a guy that you could drink a beer with. You could have a good time. You could talk to him about football. He's very easy to talk to. My brief conversations with him over the years, he's a very nice guy, very likable guy, and that's why I'm rooting hard for him. And I want this team not only because I'm a Pirate fan, alum, coach football, all kinds of reasons why, Angles broadcaster, but I want this guy to get the job because he deserves it, and also the fact that, the proof is in the pudding. Like I told you guys with Mike Houston, everybody said, like I'm a Mike Houston apologist. It's not that as much as I like the guy. The problem is it wasn't working out. Now you have a situation where you make the coaching change. The Pirates are winning, and you look at the fact that with 3 wins already, you got 2 games to go. I'm telling you guys, if he goes 4-1, he deserves a job even before the bowl game, in my opinion. At 7-5, that's
the bowl game. I'm hoping to God, whether we keep him or don't keep him, I'm hoping to God we don't wait till the bowl game to make that damn decision.
That's my biggest, Kyle. You read my mind. That's my biggest fear, but
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I really don't. But Bubba, Dave, Bubba, Matt, do y'all see any scenario where we wait till the bowl game results to make this decision?
No, I think the decision is going to be made most likely. I feel pretty confident saying it's going to probably be made after this game. I really feel pretty confident saying it's going to be made after this game. Either way, based on
now, what if we lose and then go beat Navy?
Based on some things I'm hearing, that's what it sounds like. Now, look, again, I agree with that. What I think is you let this thing play out. You play the next 2 games, and let's see where we are. Let's see how the team responds. Let's look at the game plans. Let's evaluate everything. And that's what I'm hoping for. And I agree with you, with all you guys, actually. If we win one of the next 2, I believe that he should get the job. I firmly believe that. Just some of the things I'm hearing, some of the rumors, it does sound like there's a chance that this could be made next week, but this decision could be made next week, but time will tell.
Is that win or lose? Because, we heard rumors too involving Tyson Helton. Is that win or lose? Because if he wins,
I think based on a loss is what I'm saying, Kyle. Yep.
But that's moronic. If we lose this game and then he beats Navy for the first time ever in Greenville and then doesn't get the job, that looks it's beyond stupid. It would go right up there. I can see it now. We beat Navy. They don't retain him. They hire somebody else. Him and John David Baker go somewhere else and win. And then we look. Can y'all remember a time there was this dude? He was defensive coordinator at Texas Tech. He had this young little offensive coordinator, and he was interim head coach. And they won their bowl game. And Texas Tech decided not to keep him, and somebody else hired him in the OC. And they had a good run. The OC ended up becoming a big superstar head coach. And meanwhile, old Texas Tech hired old Tommy Tuberville because he was a big name, and he sucked and got out of there before he could get fired and went to Cincinnati. So I'm just telling you, if you make the decision before these last – look, if we win and you want to go ahead and name him interim or head coach, that's fine. But if we lose the close one and you go ahead and make the decision, how can you make that decision with the Navy game still on the table? That is insane to me.
Exactly, and you I firmly believe if he wins this week, why not go ahead? Would you guys go ahead and hire him if he goes 4-0? Like another.
Well, it sounds like Matt's saying that Matt sounds like what Matt. Are you hearing either way? If he wins, he'll get the interim, or he'll get the head coaching, or just if he go ahead.
Based on some of the things I'm hearing, it's kind of a 50-50 thing. And if he wins this week, If he beats North Texas, I think there's a very good chance he gets the job. Unfortunately, I think if he loses, there's a chance. There is a chance, and I'm not saying, again, a lot of this is just based on conversations. There's a chance it goes the other way, but I do agree with you, Kyle, that you let this thing play out. You let the rest of this regular season play out, and you're prepared to make a decision the day after the final game. Now, if he wins the next two, if I'm John Gilbert, I'm in the locker room after the game telling everybody we just hired our next head coach, and it's Blake Harrell. So
what if we beat North Texas this weekend 54-34? You have a 20-point win on the road.
I personally, again, this is if I was the athletic director, I would let the next 2 weeks play out.
Okay.
That's just my personal preference, to let it play out. But hey, you never, this is ECU. We never know what the hell we're going to do here.
I think if you beat North Texas convincingly, I think you go ahead and give him the job, because why should you expect him to do as an interim head coach what nobody else has done? Ruffin McNeil, every time Navy came here, they destroyed him. Mike Houston can never beat Navy here. Scotty Montgomery couldn't beat anybody here, except NC State and BYU, oddly enough. But do you realize Scotty Montgomery, besides Connecticut and FCS schools, his other 3 wins were against BYU, NC State, and Cincinnati. It's kind of funny to think about.
North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, thank you.
That's why North Carolina won't play us anymore, because we beat them.
But anyway, I just don't see, and I get what you're saying, and I don't know if it's the same rumors I heard about, if you heard the same name I heard, Matt, or if you've heard another name. But I think if you make that decision not to hire him before the Navy game, I just don't see how you can do that. I don't see how you can have Navy coming in here knowing the lack of success we had against them, and if we beat them to go 7-5. This is a Navy team that has lost 3 games. I mean, it's not like it's a bad Navy team. This is a Navy team that, up until this past weekend, was contending for the conference championship. So, that's why I say I just don't see how in the world a loss to North Texas precludes him from the head coaching job. In that situation, then the answer is the only way he can get the job is to win out, apparently. If losing to North Texas, I'm hoping what you're hearing is incorrect, Matt, and I've heard similar, but that sure would be a shame.
You never know, right? I'm sure there's a lot of rumors floating out there. I'm sure we're all probably hearing some different things, but I just hope it all works out. I really do.
Are you hearing a specific name, like we are?
Well, the name that I continue to hear is Tyson Helton.
Okay. Yep.
That's the name I continue
Well,
to hear.
here's the thing. What if Tyson Helton? Here's the scenario for everybody. Look, the next 2 weeks, Western Kentucky, and I like Tyson Helton. Don't get me wrong. I was told I was saying Tyson Helton way back in September, but they got Liberty and Jacksonville State the next 2 weeks. What if they finish 7-5? Because they just got upset by La Tech, and it ain't easy to beat Liberty and Jacksonville State back-to-back weeks. Those are 2 very tough games. What happens then?
What if ECU is 8-4 and
well, no, that scenario is not going to happen. If we finish 8-4, Blake's got the job. But what happens if? Well, no, there's no doubt in my mind. But what happens if we lose to North Texas this week, and then Liberty blows out Western Kentucky? I mean, is the scenario still the same? I can't see that it is. I mean, who's going to get excited at that point about hiring a head coach that went 7-5 at Western Kentucky? I think you need to let the whole thing play out, not only for Blake Harrell, but for Tyson Helton also.
Not only that, but here's the thing for me. I could honestly see a scenario, and not dogging our administration, but I will say this. I can see a scenario right now, even with winning out, and I'm not saying this is what I want, so let me make that very careful. I want Blake to get the job, period. Okay? I like him a lot personally, professionally. The players love him. He's a great fit for Greenville. My worry is sometimes administrators overthink things. They have these big donors that say we need this blankety blank coach.
I was told, Dave, by our friend that works for ECU, you know what I'm talking about, that one of the big donors, whose name is the same as a former UAB head football coach, may be getting on the Blake Harrell bandwagon a little bit. So
good. Because, what I was saying is, what I don't want to happen is where people overthink things, like, because I'm not dogging Blake at all, but I'm saying, like, the grass is not always greener, like the cliche goes, and you can go out and get a guy that you think is great, and he could be the worst. We've already gambled, and it worked out for us where we're doing well. Don't gamble again on going against what you already know, what you have with Blake versus what you don't know with the other coaches, because maybe they don't. Hey, maybe they don't fit in Greenville, and we took a big gamble when we already had the safe bet with Blake. So I agree with Matt. Let's let it play out, but at the same time, I still believe if we do well against North Texas, that's 4 straight wins, 2 of which have been on the road. And a team, North Texas is not a team that was like a bad team. They're a lot better than they played in the last few weeks. So,
well, they've lost to good teams. I mean, the only, UTSA you could argue is, mediocre. But after that, besides that, all the rest of the teams they lost to, Memphis, Army, Tulane, all obviously very good football teams.
Kyle, I'll say this really quick. If we beat Navy, give Blake a 5-year deal, because you know how I feel about Navy.
yeah, I do.
I'd rather play Alabama than Navy at ECU. So,
you're right on that.
Look, if this man can beat Navy, you know what? And it's not even that Navy is this amazing football team, but for whatever reason, as we all know, they are a thorn in the side of East Carolina.
And they got an off week, and we got 6 days to prepare for them.
Right. Isn't that the second year in a row they had an off week before they played us?
It's almost every year.
No, it didn't happen last year
But it happened every other year.
It happened like 2 or 3 years in a row with Houston, and he made a point of that. It didn't happen last year, but it happened this year. But anyway, I want to tell you something right now with Navy. Here's the thing with Navy that I'm happy about. It's a home game. I know we haven't won there, but Blake Harrell knows, obviously, now the head coach. He knows what he's going to run. I know even when you know what you're going to run, you can still lose a game. But I just have a feeling. I have a really good feeling about the Navy game at home. I think we've got to get 40-some thousand people in there. I'd love to have 50, but we've got to have 40-some thousand.
That won't happen. If we get 35, I'll be happy.
Well, the whole thing about the Black Friday thing, that's what worries me when we play that, like Thursday night games. We haven't had a Saturday game in a while, but thank God we've won these games. But anyway, grateful that we have a Saturday game coming up in 2 days, and then we have the Friday game. It doesn't matter. I guess ultimately we're going to win the games or lose the games one way or another. But I will say that with the Pirates, I really like the fact that we're trending in the right direction. I think North Texas is the other way around. I know they can win the game, but just based on where they're going, I think they're going to continue to go down. I like the fact that Blake Harrell is letting John David Baker do his job. I loved Mike Houston, but I told you guys that the conservative play calling and getting a lead. I mean, we could easily have a 10-win season this year if it was not for that. But anyway, it is what it is. We are.
You make a great point, Dave. I just want to give you. When you just said that Blake Harrell is letting John David Baker be the coach who he is,
right,
or who he wants to be, that's a huge point. That's a huge point, because you see, if you just watch these games, and one of you guys mentioned it earlier, like right when I was coming in, but it might have been Bubba. There's a noticeable difference in the way this team is playing football right now. A much more aggressive tone, tone of we're not holding back, a tone of, look, we're just going to go make plays. They look like they're playing loose. You look at how the biggest difference, and Dave, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I thought you made a really good point. You look at how we're approaching the game from the perspective of the last offensive possession right before halftime is entirely different. The way we approached that versus Tulsa, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. We said, hey, we got the ball back with what, about a minute left before half?
Yeah.
How many times over the last 5-6 years have we seen East Carolina sit on the ball, not use timeouts and just get it to halftime? Let's just get it to halftime. Look, these guys decided to try to march the ball down the field, and they were able to get a huge field goal there.
Yeah.
And that changed the tone of the game going into half. So there's a noticeable difference. I think the team looks like they're playing looser. They look like they're having a lot more fun to me. So there's a lot to like right now. And I hope it continues this week.
Yeah, when you talk about that field goal right before halftime against Tulsa, we've done that every game since Blake has been head coach. We've been aggressive going into the half. We did it against Temple, we did it against Florida Atlantic, and we did it again against Tulsa in a situation we were trailing. And that's another thing. Game management, the way Blake managed the fourth quarter was unbelievable. Good clock management, good game management. He didn't panic down in the red zone, called one timeout. He talked about it being a chess match, whether he should use more timeouts or make Tulsa use their timeouts. He said he just wanted to make sure he wasn't in a situation where, they tied it or, God forbid, went for two and got it and didn't have any time to go back down the field at all. But, it worked out. So, that's a situation, again, where a lot of people talked about, well, that game shouldn't have been that close. Well, look, it was a road game. It was we always seem to struggle at Tulsa, and I was glad to see Blake manage the situation so well in the fourth. Personally, the way the guys are playing, no, it's not even close. Particularly on offense, is night and day. It's like two different football teams. We talked about not being able to score 30 points. Now we're dropping 40, 50 points a game. I mean, we scored 36 friggin' points on the road against Tulsa with 4 turnovers.
Yeah, I know.
36 points on the road with 4 turnovers. So, that's another thing. John David Baker is going to be a star. John David Baker will be a offensive coordinator in the SEC or the ACC very soon. So if you can hang on to him for another year, I would advise it. And here's the thing: when you look at Tyson Helton, and I like Tyson Helton, but that's the guy that most people are hearing that's going to get the job if it's not Blake. So I like Tyson. Don't get me wrong, but do we think Tyson would have done any better these last 3 games? What would he have done differently? Would he have put 70 on Temple? I mean, I don't know. They just lost to La Tech. La Tech's horrible. So beating Tulsa by 7 is better than losing to La Tech.
And that game was at Western Kentucky, and it's not like they, lost 34-31 game. It was 9-7.
Exactly, Bubba. And they are playing their backup quarterback, but he's been starting for several weeks now, since October. So I know I'm not knocking Tyson. I'm just saying there's nothing right now that's exciting me. Look, I promise everybody, right? I promise you. And if I'm wrong, I'll send you $1. But if we keep Blake and we're able to retain John David Baker and Caton Hauser, we will be a good football team next year offensively. I guarantee it. I'm just telling you. I think we're going to win this weekend. I'm getting a little too emotionally invested in this. I almost feel like Blake is being disrespected.
I agree 100%.
And maybe he's not. I don't know what the administration is really doing, but some of these rumors I'm hearing, I think it's very disrespectful to the man when he's doing a good job. Now, look, if we go get blown out this weekend and then we get blown out against Navy and finish 6-6, and it is what it is, I'll accept the decision. And I'm not concerned about going 8-4 and us hiring somebody else. I don't think we're that stupid. We're stupid, but we're not that stupid.
Kyle, please, I know I agree with you, but Stranger things have happened, my friend.
It's not going to happen, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Tyson
God, it
Helton's
just
not.
made me think of the movie Tropic Thunder. You know, Tropic Thunder, never go full. I won't say the word. I don't want to, I don't want to offend anybody. But you know what I'm talking about.
Full dumbass. I've never seen the movie.
Essentially.
Full
Oh yeah.
specially mentally challenged.
Yeah, exactly. I
Gotcha.
don't want to offend anybody, but yeah,
Yes,
what you just said, it reminded me of.
yeah. If you don't retain him after going 8-4, you are going full. That word that's not allowed to be said anymore. Here's the thing, and this is the reason I don't think we will do that. One, I think there will be tons of Blake chance at that Navy game if we win that one. Two, I don't think Tyson Helton will win these next two. I think he's in a situation after losing to Louisiana Tech. He may lose these next two. If you win one of them, that's an 8-win season. But would not be surprised to see Tyson Helton and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers lose to both Liberty and Jacksonville State. Would not surprise me at all. This is competing for spots in the Conference USA Championship game between these three. So good scheduling there by the people in CUSA. But we'll see. 8-4 doesn't concern me. 7-5 is where I get worried because I think he deserves it at 7-5. But again, I
that's
promise you,
4-1.
and one of the 4-1 exactly. And one of the big keys, and I'll shut up. I know I'm kind of dominating this right here. I'll shut up and let y'all talk more. But I'm promising you guys the key. One of the big keys to me to this is if we hire Blake, is retaining John David Baker and Caton Hauser. So we need to make sure we're willing to pay JDB a significant amount as OC, and we need to make sure we can pony up for NIL for Hauser. Because I think if you can keep those two with Blake leading things, we're probably setting ourselves up to have a really special season offensively next year. I'm going to shut up for a minute and let y'all talk.
Yeah, nobody.
Well, don't do it all at once.
I agree with you guys. I think, look, if he goes 4-1, that would be 7-5. I just don't see how you cannot give him the job. I mean, that's 80% of the games when we had a rough start. I mean, we were 3-4, and we win 4 out of 5, and we're 7-5. You're going to the bowl game, and you look at. Here's another thing, guys, to look at it. We talk about this ad nauseum. The fact that our team is. The Pirates are 7 to 9 wins. That's our sweet spot of our program. 6 is iffy, right? But that's who we are as Pirates. So if he gets that 7th win, that's right in our wheelhouse of who we are. We're not Ohio State. We're not Alabama. 5 losses at Ohio State gets you fired. Alabama, don't even think about it. All the rest of the schools, you can think about it. But for me personally, I love Blake Harrell, and it's not just because he's a good guy. Wins and losses, he's already going to have a winning season. As far as he has a shot at 5 games is all he had. He's going to be at the very worst going 3-2. So me personally, I like the guy. We're going to pull hard for him. I agree with Matt. We're going to have to wait until after Navy, but I mean, if he wins Saturday, though, man, it's really hard not to give him the job. And I tell you another thing is we don't need to, in fairness to the other coaches, just like with Blake, it's also not fair to these other coaches. You're giving them hope that they have a shot at the job when the guy keeps winning. I just, for me, I hope that our administration is not doing that as well, promising them they have a job when they really don't have the job if he keeps winning.
I would go ahead, man.
No, first of all, James, you nailed the movie. Yep, great job, Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder. But one thing that's really impressed me, guys, about Blake, and you'll pick this up when you listen to each one of his press conferences over the last 3 or 4 weeks. He talks about being fully committed to the job at hand, right? And the way he talks is like, yeah, we know our future is completely uncertain. We know there's a very good chance we're going to be coaching somewhere else next year or maybe not coaching at all because that's the way this business is. But we are full steam ahead, and we are fully committed to winning football games right now. You got to respect what this staff has done. That's hard to do. Like, we've all probably been there at different points in our lives, like in the business world where, layoffs are coming, or maybe your boss is about to get fired, and it's easy to stick one toe in and one toe out. But you got to give credit for these guys the way they've been committed. So, and I'll tell you what, the other moving part here is what does John David Baker want to do? I mean, does he want to be here for another two or 3 years? There's a lot of moving parts here to this whole thing, but
I think he likes working with Blake. They seem to work well together.
Yeah,
it seems like it. It does seem like it. So, but you got to make sure that all these things are tied up. There's obviously got to be, because they're kind of a package deal, right?
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. And
I think you can do that monetarily, Matt. You're not going to have to pay Blake Harrell a large amount of money. Let's say $1 million to $1.2 million. So we'll split the difference. We'll say we pay him $1.1 million. Well, then go ahead and pay JDB $900,000. Make him one of the highest paid coordinators, if not the highest paid coordinator at the Group of 5 level. And I guarantee you can hold on to him for at least another year.
Yeah.
So, I would want a commitment from John David Baker. Now, if we go 8-4, no, but at 7-5, yes, I would want a commitment from JDB that he's going to stay with Blake at least for 1 year. I do agree it's a package deal.
Yep.
So let me ask you this question then: if let's say we go 8-4, what if JDB says he's out of here? Do you still keep Blake?
I don't think he would say that until Blake got the job. I don't. He would be a ass if he did. But no, if we go 8-4, look, if we go 8-4, no questions asked, you hire Blake Harrell. And then if John David Baker, gets the OC position at an SEC school, then you just got to hope Blake makes a good hire. I think we've seen that Blake wants to be wide open on offense and wants to score a lot of points. I think he's got a very Ruffin McNeil mindset, despite being a defensive coordinator. I think the way Blake looks at things is a little different than Houston. I think Blake does two things. One, I think he lets his coaches coach. And two, I think he likes for his offense to run what he thinks is hard to stop. In other words, throwing the deep ball, running the ball on the perimeter, etc., is hard to stop on defense. And so I think he tells his offensive coordinator, hey, this is what I think is hard to stop, run that. Where I think Mike Houston took the approach of let's be conservative and let's win with defense. Where I think Blake uses his experience as a defensive coordinator to, kind of say, hey, this is what's tough to stop. Let's run that. Like Ruffin did. Ruffin was all about running the air raid because he knew how tough it was to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're whipping somebody's ass, that's what we want.
Oh,
Blake
just joined us.
If you're whipping somebody's ass, that's what we want.
There you go.
Blake, in that soundbite, he was referring to the penalty, the Dustin Hall penalty down in Tulsa, which was a horrendous call, by the way. And he's right. If you're a coach in that situation, you don't get mad at your player. You defend them and you say, next time out, I want you to whip somebody's ass again. Do the same thing. And so he handled it right.
Bubba, what do you think about all this? You've been quiet tonight.
I think it's time, that we hear from Brother Kyle.
Oh, you mean Reverend Kyle?
The preacher.
Brother Kyle, Reverend Kyle.
Lord, you want to hear from
Reverend? As I stand here and I look out before you, and I think about the game this Saturday in Denton, Texas, as our Pirates take on the Mean Green of North Texas. Brother Blake Harrell will lead us in the battle, flanked by offensive coordinator John David Baker. And Lord, we all know John David is a biblical name. John the Baptist. And Lord, we all know how David defeated Goliath, the same way the Pirates will defeat the Mean Green. Then Brother Blake Harrell will lead us back home to Greenville as we take on the Navy midshipmen. And the Pirates will defeat Navy for the first time ever at home. And Brother Blake Harrell will have the interim title removed from his name, and we will call him head coach, and he will lead us to a bold victory. Lord, I pray it be done, and I ask you make it be done. In Jesus' name we pray, amen, and go Pirates.
Thank you for that great sermon, Reverend Kyle. Man,
That dude can preach. He's good.
Oh,
He's got a
man.
little soul to him.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah, appreciate you, Kyle, very much for those.
I'll let him know. I'll let the Reverend know that you guys enjoyed his sermon.
I want to hear from all the people listening. What are your thoughts on the Reverend Kyle?
Reverend Kyle, is this the Pine Bomb show?
Fine Bomb.
You comparing that to Fine Bomb? Man, my ears aren't that big.
Chuck's all business. He didn't mention Reverend Kyle. He went right back to NIL.
Didn't even enjoy it. You know what? That's okay. I'll take it to Pirate Radio. I'll workshop it on the fifth quarter, see what they think, and then we'll come back with it.
All right, let's see.
That's great.
The great Pirate rival. Reverend Kyle is awesome. See, there you go, John.
There
White.
we go. We got one for John White. John White enjoyed it. Appreciate it, John. Chuck, the Reverend Kyle was appreciate it, Chuck Northcutt.
Chuck said you were great, Reverend Kyle.
That's good. You know, so I'll tell the Reverend. But anyway, I just did that earlier, playing around. The guys liked it. Bubba wanted to put it on the show, so hope everybody enjoyed it. Maybe we'll put it out there on social media. Somebody needs to get it to Blake. Let him know. I messaged him on social media. Let him know that Kyle from LaGrange has his back.
How about that? He said, I can testify, bro. Kyle got me running around the house. BK says Kyle Osteen.
Kyle, no. Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute. No. Oh no. No, that son bitch is evil.
Osteen?
He's evil?
Am I thinking of the right guy? The pretty boy that runs the megachurch?
Joel Osteen? How is he?
He's like some
the televangelist, the pretty boy televangelist that runs the megachurch
in Houston.
Yeah, all those guys are evil. Come on, man.
No, I don't.
You can't get into. Look, it says in the book, a rich man can go through the eye of a needle. It's easier that he can get to the kingdom of heaven. You can't tell me Joel Osteen is preaching the word from the heart. He's preaching it for that dollar. He's preaching it for that dollar bill. Joel Osteen worships the dollar, not the Lord. Anyway, no, man. Joel Osteen's full of crap. All those big money televangelists, yeah, come on.
I love Osteen.
I can kiss my ass. And now, what's that dude?
I'll never listen to any of them, so I have no idea.
What's the other preacher that's famous that God, he looks demonic. I see him on TikTok a lot. He can somebody help me out here with who I'm talking about in the comments? He is a evil looking dude to me. There's something wrong with him, and yet he's a preacher.
I believe Cal can have the next great stadium revival in Dowdy.
Justin, I'd be just as full of crap as the rest of them. I'm just, as far as the televangelists, no, you can't convince me these multimillionaires' hearts are in the right place. Ain't no way. I think Billy Graham was the exception to the rule.
What about Franklin Graham?
Don't know enough about him to comment on him, but I do think, in terms of these big money preachers, Billy Graham was the exception to the rule.
I don't know if you guys remember, Justin, you were talking about the stadium revival.
Yeah, Franklin did he did one of his first revivals after Billy retired at Dowdy Ficklin.
It was very good. They had, for those of you who know, Paul Overstreet wrote a lot of great songs for Randy Travis and different country stars. This great singer and songwriter. He was there. They had a lot of great.
Him and Ricky Skaggs, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Here you go. Kenneth Copeland, Kyle.
Kenneth Copeland. Thank you very much. Kenneth Copeland might be the devil. I'm not sure, but he might be.
Wow. Oh my
I'm
God.
telling you, that's an evil man. Anybody who can look in the eyes of Kenneth Copeland and not see pure evil, you're just beyond me.
John says Copeland is the one who looks crazy in the eyes.
Yeah, he looks evil.
Oh my gosh. Let's see
Big
here.
comment here from Mark Libiano.
Me and Kyle phone pranked Waffle House and Baton Rouge's Coach O.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did. It wasn't Baton Rouge, James. It was Oxford. It was we prank called Waffle House in Oxford when Coach O was there, and it went something a little bit like, see if I can show you Coach Ogeron. It was this Coach Ogeron. I want to order a waffle. And, do you got can I get an omelet with crawfish in it? Can you put crawfish in the omelet? It was something like that. It's been years ago, but yeah, that was actually when he was at Ole Miss, James.
I would have loved to hear that call.
I'm multi-talented, guys. I'm multi-talented.
Yeah, he's a man of many voices in his head. Or something like that. Libiano, you said Libiano. I saw that he had commented. Where was Libby? There we go. I got it right here. How many boxes did Blake Harrell check? Aggressive players coach, recruiting, clock management, personable, loyal, coaches on the sideline, team guy, knows football. What else are we looking for? He is checking a lot of boxes. New coach resets everything. Please tell me how much money we really have for the new hire and how many boxes will they check in the next year. Great point, Mark.
I like all his points.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I forgot to mention that earlier, was the fact that when I was talking about gambling, is you're gambling if you don't go with Blake because you're going to lose recruits. There's a lot of things that can happen.
And keep in mind, Pirate Nation, this is all with the caveat that we don't, crap the bed the next 2 weeks and just get blown out. This is with the caveat that we play well these next 2 weeks. Not necessarily win them both, but play well. So they win one of the two. Yes, I agree with Libiano. Blake checks all the boxes, including letting his coaches coach. That's something that he didn't mention. And I know former players like Mark Libiano, like Matt here. They like Blake, so that's another good thing. And I would imagine he would have good relationships with our former players. That's something else.
Yeah, I think Mark makes a great point. And like any player wants to play for a coach that keeps things loose, keeps a lot of excitement in the building. That's the type of guy you want to play for. You don't want to play for an uptight coach. And I'm not saying Mike Houston was uptight. I'm just making a general statement here. You don't want to play for an uptight coach. And so I agree with everything Mark said there. Some really good points.
Yeah, and Paige said if not, Blake Harrell has to be someone with head coach experience. And Paige, what we're hearing from multiple sources is that Tyson Helton's going to be the guy if it's not Blake. Of course, that can all change. If Western Kentucky loses to Liberty and to Jacksonville State these next 2 weeks, hey, there's a name. If we want to talk other names, Conference USA coaches, Rich Rodriguez's name hasn't been coming up very often. That's somebody that I think that if Blake doesn't get the job, that would fit that criteria of a head coach or experienced head coach. And in that scenario, then he would have beaten Western Kentucky and be playing for the conference championship. So Rich Rod is somebody else that should be on the list along with Tyson Helton if Blake doesn't get the job.
No doubt, guys. Let's move on now to predictions for the game. We're at North Texas. Matt, Bubba, Kyle, who wants to go first with your predictions?
You know what? I'm normally conservative. The hell with it. East Carolina 54, North Texas 34. We win by 20.
Wow. What do you think, Matt?
This is a tough one. I think that I expect a lot of fireworks. I expect a high-scoring game. I think that their defense, against the way our offense is playing right now, I think we're going to carve them up. I expect to score at least 40 points. I'll say 42 to 34 Pirates.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're going to give up some points. I would take the over in this game. Not sure, Bubba. No, Bubba, what's the over?
70-something.
Whatever it is, I'd take it.
I'm going. All right. I had the first number that came to mind. I'm going 49 for the Pirates, 14 for. I'm going big. Go big or go home.
49-14? There's no way we hold on to 14. No way. No, I hope you're right, Dave. I hope you're right. But I would be shocked.
I just think for the defense, I don't know. I just have a good feeling about the defense this week. We'll see.
I mean, they got one of the best passing offenses in the country.
I know they do.
I just don't see that. And they are 2-point favorites. I mean, I thought me picking a 20-point win was outrageous, being we're underdogs. But good God, you got 49-14. I tell you what, we win 49-14. We better go ahead and make Blake the head coach in the locker room.
B Pace has got 55-49.
I'll take any of these, but I hope
There's
Dave's
that
right.
over. There's the over again. You see it?
Yeah.
B Pays has the over. Chuck has the over.
I got the over also.
Yep. It's gonna be a lot of points.
So take the over if you're.
Bubby, you got your score ready, or are you with us?
54-42 ECU is James's prediction. UNT's offense.
I like that score a lot, actually, James.
Justin's picking the over. All right, Bubba, do you have it?
I think Bubba's with us, guys.
All right. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you one thing to look out for, guys, and when you watch our defense play this week, notice how many times they're in position against 50-50 balls in the air where we either make the play or don't make the play. I think that's going to be a big difference in this game. You're seeing almost every week now where our corners and safeties are in perfect position to make a play on the ball in the air. And for whatever reason, we're just not able to make those plays. We're not timing our jumps appropriately. We're just not able to get our hand on it. If we can make those plays, I'm telling you, you're going to get an extra 2 to 3 stops per game. And I'm not overstating that at all. This is happening every week. So we have to make plays defensively when the ball is in the air.
Bubba has gone to bed, Chuck said. So.
Is Chuck sleeping with Bubba? How does he know
this? Justin says, and the Queen Anne's Revenge the Third comes home with a W.
Hey, sounds good to me, Justin.
Stevie Fly.
Stevie, what's your score, man? Give us your score for the East Carolina North Texas game. We want Stevie Fly's prediction here. The one and only Stevie Fly from Southern Virginia. You know he's got a house in Chesapeake.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's got a vacation home.
In Chesapeake. Oh, wow.
In Chesapeake, yeah, right on the Sound or the Bay.
Semenza is right. I rewatched the game last week. We missed 2 to 3 interceptions if we just timed it outright. B-Pace.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm glad other people are seeing that too. It's just, you just have to make those plays.
Pace and Matt agreeing a lot here lately. We're going to have to get them together. That's interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, by the way, guys,
I agree with everybody tonight, man. A lot of good points tonight.
Yeah, you agreed with Pace earlier on something you posted on the message board that I disagreed about. Won't get into that on the air because I don't want to, but Pace is probably scratching his head right now wondering.
He says 51-37 ECU.
There you go. Stevie has spoken.
There's that over again. Everybody's got the over.
Be sure to follow social medias. I'll be posting several updates on the trip out to Texas, says Justin.
All right. The Stone Cold Steve Austin played football for North Texas.
Oh, that's right. I knew that's why I knew about North Texas football. I forgot about that. Justin says he'll be in Dave's backyard. Is that me? What, you'll be in Williamston on Saturday?
Be in Dave's backyard. What?
Pace says
he just means he'll be in the Williamston area, I'm sure.
All right, we got to hang
No,
out.
hey, the great thing about this show is we do not talk politics, right? That's the
No.
great thing about it, right?
No.
What did we miss? What did Pace say?
It must be.
We're just joking around about how we. He said it must have been about.
No, it wasn't about politics. Not if Matt agreed with you. I can guarantee you that, Pace. No, we'll talk about it. It was about Charles Huff. You had mentioned Charles Huff being a good candidate, and Matt agreed with you, and I disagreed. I don't like Charles Huff. I think he's a very mediocre coach who's got a situation at Marshall where it literally, if you could write your name in crayon, you can get in at Marshall. I think anybody with half a brain can win there. It's one of the easiest admission standards of anywhere in the country. I'm not a Charles Huff fan, and you had mentioned him on the message board, and Matt liked that suggestion, and so no, it was not political.
Appreciate you, Chuck. And you will. Hey, Justin, you got to come to the parade, or at least you guys can hear me on Saturday. We're going to be broadcasting the parade on 92.1 Classic Country.
So that's why Justin's going to be in Williamston. The Queen Anne's Revenge is actually going to be in the Williamston Christmas Parade instead of in Denton, Texas.
Justin, come on, bring one of your trucks, man. We'll have it. We'll put you in the parade.
That's actually a good idea. For Christmas parades. Yeah. So that's a Justin. We're gonna book you out for the parade routes next year with the Queen Anne's Revenge. I really love that idea. Actually.
When did Chuck Northcutt play linebacker? Chuck, when did you play linebacker?
He was on the 83 team.
Okay. All right, cool. Another fellow LB.
Yes, sir, he is. And look at this. They actually do some parades. Well, come to Williamston. You got an open invitation. It's be here at 10 o'clock on.
What parades do you do, Justin? Goldsboro, or because I know you're a Wayne County native. I'm just curious to see. Kinston. I don't. Hey, Kinston. Totally off topic, but living in this area, kind of in between Goldsboro and Kinston, Snow Hill, and Greene County. I kind of shit on Kinston quite a bit, and I do want to say this: if you're in Eastern North Carolina and you've never gone to downtown Kinston to see the Christmas lights at Pearson Park, and just the Christmas lights of downtown Kinston over towards the bridge, and particularly Pearson Park, Kinston does a really nice job decorating for Christmas, surprisingly well, particularly the Pearson Park area. So if you want to, somewhere to go check out some lights, I believe the lighting may be the 21st, so maybe coming up this weekend. Just check that out. It's free.
All right. He said Newton Grove is we've done before. He said Goldsboro is tight because of the route.
Newton Grove. Okay. All right. Down in is that Sampson County, I believe?
Or Johnston one. I can't remember.
No, it's not Johnston. It would be Sampson, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. I got 3 parades this year. Nightdale, Zebulon, and Raleigh. What about Lizard Lick, Pays? Come on, man. Do Lizard Lick.
Pays, what are you doing in the parades? I mean, are you Grand Marshal? I mean, what are you
for Curtis Media Group?
You dressing up as Santa Claus? What is Pays doing in the parades? Is he DJing at the parade?
Yeah. He's probably riding the parade as a Curtis Media Group, his new gig. His wife, Justin's wife, is from Newton Grove. It is Sampson County. Okay.
Let me tell you something about Newton Grove, and Justin will attest to this.
He's a grand pimp.
A grand pimp. All right, there you go. Pimping ain't easy. Justin, as a trucker and someone who's familiar with Newton Grove, what is up with that stupid ass roundabout, like in the middle of the highway out of the blue, that if you run up on that thing in the middle of the night and you don't know it's there, being, we ain't from friggin' England, it will confuse the hell out of you. He's got to know what I'm talking about. Anybody that's been through there has to know what I'm talking about.
He's laughing. He says, ha ha.
That's all you got, Justin, for that? Is ha ha?
No, he says he's done that a couple times.
Just run up on it in the middle of the night, and it would confuse you. I mean, we were driving back from Fayetteville one night and didn't take 95, took that way back, and got to that roundabout and just
the circle of opportunity.
Yeah, it will perplex you if you don't know it's there, and we didn't. It will in the middle of the night. It'll throw you off.
I'll have to check that out sometime.
I would advise against it.
Okay. Let's see. James says, Brian, is it hard out there for a pimp? Guys, do you have any more intel as far as just way too early? I know, but or anybody listening, do you guys watching on the bowl game? What bowl we potentially will go to? I'm seeing Myrtle Beach. I saw going back to Birmingham.
It's just projections at this point. Look, I want Myrtle Beach because of the convenience of location. If we go 8-4, we're not going to Myrtle Beach. I don't know that Myrtle Beach even look. If you go to the Myrtle Beach Bowl website, their contract this year is with the MAC, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA.
Yeah.
But it's an ESPN owned bowl, so things can be traded around. So we could still end up there. If we go 7-5, 8-4. I got a feeling we'll probably be in the military or the Fenway Bowl. Maybe the Independence. It's kind of the Independence is kind of going to depend on Boise and Tulane. I think if Tulane wins the American and Boise loses the Mountain West, I think then Tulane gets the playoff spot, and that may end up open up the Independence Bowl for us if we win at least one more. I don't think we're going to go to Birmingham again. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any. Well, people really enjoyed that Birmingham trip this past time around.
Yeah, it was much better with the changes there in the new stadium in the street adjacent to the stadium with the bars and restaurants. It was much better than 06 and 2014.
Yeah, but 4 trips to the Birmingham Bowl would be a bit ridiculous. We're owed a makeup spot in the Military Bowl. You figure Army or Navy, one of the two will end up in the Military Bowl. You figure, but I think we would probably Army. I don't think Navy has Navy ever stayed at home and played in that bowl. So I think us and Army would probably be the two likely for that one. Then I think us and Navy would be the two likely for Fenway. Then you look down.
Last year, the AAC champ SMU went to Fenway.
That's interesting.
I'll tell you another interesting one is the Cure Bowl in Orlando. I would love that personally, just because anywhere you can get to a direct flight, right? Like Myrtle Beach is easy to get there for the people. Obviously, very easy for you guys who live in North Carolina. But for the alumni out of state, easy location to get to. Same thing with Orlando. So, direct flight into Orlando. No problem at all. I would personally love Fenway. Not sure if that's the best thing for ECU, though. So I would love to see, the military, the Cure Bowl, or the Myrtle Beach. Those would be my top 3.
It's either the Cure Bowl. It's either the Cure Bowl or Boca that has a terrible date.
Boca,
I want to say it's like the 18th, like on a Wednesday. Yeah. And then I think the Cure is that Friday the 20th, which still ain't great, but it's a little better.
Yeah, you're right, Kyle.
The military ball 28th, great date.
27th. It's right after Christmas, like the 27th.
It's the 28th. The Saturday the 28th. Same with the Independence. I believe that's the 28th also.
That's what I want.
Myrtle Beach Bowl, the 23rd, which is a Monday. That's a good one too. The Myrtle Beach Bowl is good, obviously because of distance, but it being on Monday, I think Monday at like 11 or 12 p.m. It's early.
Yeah.
So you can go down Saturday and Sunday, go to the game Monday, and then drive back for those of us that live in North Carolina. So a lot of good options out there. We'll worry about the bowl game after we get through these next two and find out our head coach is going to be. But from a personal aspect, to be able to go to it, I want the military or either Myrtle Beach, because those are the two that I know I could go to. Orlando might be a possibility to get down there. None of the rest of them are really going to fit my travel budget. We don't all have Matt Semenza money. But
how did I know that was coming? But hey, look, how much better would this bowl game be if we win our next 2?
Oh,
right,
awesome! We have a chance to win 9 games.
Oh, if you can win the next 2, you're talking about 5 wins in a row going into a bowl game. You're going to have a fired up fan base. It's going to be a huge party.
Could you
Be a
imagine 8 and
great
4
time
East?
for everybody.
Could you imagine 8 and 4 East Carolina against 6-6 NC State in the Military Bowl?
Be awesome.
Be amazing.
Yep, could happen. That is a real scenario that could play
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I thought about that too because it's an ACC opponent for military, and it's an easy drive, 4.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's and I do like. I will say about the Military Bowl guys, I do like it's after Christmas because my great kids, they can go to that game with me, and they want to go to a bowl. In fact, I know Mackenzie loves Birmingham. She wants to go back to Birmingham, but that's before Christmas, right?
No, it's post Christmas.
It is okay.
Yeah,
so it's like it. That's right because that's what we did 2 years ago. Yeah, so that's the
there
one.
are all of those bowls are around the 27th and 28th, and then the Florida bowls, Boca, Gasparilla, the Cure, are all 18th through the 21st, that time frame, and then Myrtle Beach is on the 23rd. Independence again, that falls on around the 28th. I think the only other one is the First Responders Bowl down in Texas, which we're not likely to get, but it is an American Bowl. And I believe that, I want to say that is Monday the 30th at 4 p.m. So that one is way post Christmas.
Robert Dedrick makes a great point, guys. Blake beats a North Carolina school 1-0 if we beat NC State in the Military Bowl. Great point.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
States talk about 6-6 Virginia.
That'd be fine. You're going to have a lot of UVA fans, though. If it's in Annapolis, obviously, we'd be outnumbered there. But you play who you play. If it's Myrtle Beach and it's a MAC opponent, I want Northern Illinois. Good name recognition. They upset Notre Dame earlier this year, but they're struggling. They're going to probably limp into a bowl at 6-6, but still great name recognition. I think that would be a fun matchup.
No doubt. All right, you guys ready to get out of here? Any final thoughts?
Well, I got some comments and a little video.
Okay, go for it, Bubba.
James chiming in said he believed that Stone Cold Steve Austin played for the late great Hayden Fry. Obviously best known for his time at Iowa, but also at North Texas. And James, you are correct.
I did not realize he played for Hayden Fry. I don't know that I've ever heard Austin mention that he played for Hayden Fry.
So let's hope that Blake Harrell can give Stone Cold an old hell yeah.
Oddly enough, after the Tulsa game, that's what he says in the locker room. Oh, he says that win deserves a hell yeah, and now we're going to play North Texas. So what are the odds? Maybe that's a little bit of foresighting there.
All right. In addition to that, you had Robert Dedrick chiming in with something we have not mentioned, but certainly aware of. JDB had coached quarterbacks at North Texas for a few seasons
before he went
and was on the same staff as former East Carolina defensive lineman and assistant coach Mark Yellock. Robert also said that Rajay Harris mentioned that the team felt mentally rested because of how Blake Harrell's handling practice. He said he didn't get into specifics, but I've heard Coach Harrell as well as players reference shorter practices, less meeting time, obviously getting the work in that they need to get in, but that the team has felt physically and mentally refreshed as a result of that. More definitely isn't always the best thing, and sometimes less is more. And obviously great to hear and see that that's working out well for us. But we appreciate Chuck Northcutt. He's like he chimed in and said from that 1981 to 1983 team, or from that era on those teams, and that 83 team, so much success, and 8-3 And
didn't go to a bowl like the 96.
One of just a few teams to end up the season ranked in the final polls. And
Chuck was at our spring game event.
Yeah,
the 83
Chuck
team
attended multiple events there. What was Professor O'Cool's?
Yes, yeah, I thought he did. You know me, Bubba, I get people confused easy. But one of the guys from the '83 team got mad at me. I can't remember who it was.
What did you do, man? What did you do?
It was actually Dave and Al. It was actually Dave and Al Cannon's fault. They were trying to get the audio so it could be heard over the PA at O'Cool's, and they were being timid about getting people to quiet down. Where I yelled, "Everybody, shut up!" But I just did it so we could get the audio right, and because they were getting frustrated, and I was getting tired of hearing them complain.
Kyle, you need to learn to be more vocal in your old age. You know, you maybe not quite outspoken enough.
Well, sometimes I think somebody gave me a great analogy the other day. It was comparing me to somebody else, and I won't get into who said it or what it was about. Nothing to do with East Carolina personal, but somebody said, everybody thinks you're an asshole, but you're really a nice guy, and everybody else thinks this other guy's a nice guy, but he's really an asshole. I think that's a good analogy of me. I think I come across as an asshole, but I'm a pretty nice guy, actually.
Well, it's a funny story. I'll just tell you guys this really quick story. When I first met Kyle, we first started. I wasn't sure, man, and I've told you this before, Kyle.
Yeah,
right?
You did. Yeah, face to face.
And I said this before, and now we kind of joke around it. But I said I don't know what to make of this guy, Kyle, man. But time went on. I discovered that Kyle is a great dude. So there's no question about it.
Don't judge
it, Matt. Appreciate it. I think I say what's on. I say what a lot of people are thinking, and it just comes out bluntly. But just like all this about Blake, when you really get down to why I'm so passionate about it and why I'm being so blunt about it, is because fair is fair to me. He's doing everything that's asked of him. He deserves an opportunity.
If you're whipping somebody's ass, that's what we want.
We want somebody's ass. That's right.
Kyle is a good man, damn it. That's what
Thank you, Pace. Thank you. I was waiting for James to speak up. He must be gone. He knows me better than anybody.
But Pace also said the ECU Marshall in Myrtle Beach would be packed.
Yeah, it would. I don't know. That's a. If you take East Carolina, do you take Marshall also? I mean, that stadium ain't so big. I mean, it would sell it out, but I almost think if you take East Carolina, you probably take a MAC school, and if you take, I don't know that that's fine with me. That'd be a great game.
Pace also said, obviously, Mean Joe Green. Hence the nickname.
Mean Green. Yeah.
And it's funny how that's really what they go by in all sports. And
the Mean Green.
You very rarely hear Eagles, despite the logo on the helmet.
The Mean Green.
Yep. And then yes, John White, Chuck Northcutt did play with Ernest Biner.
He played with Terry Gallagher.
Yeah,
was that who I did that to?
Long-time listeners will get that reference, but
was that Chuck? I did that too. Okay.
Because for younger Pirates, Dave's obviously kidding there. Terry Gallagher wrapped up his career a few years earlier, but Kyle kept asking Ernest Biner about playing with Terry Gallagher.
Oh, was it Biner?
He said, man, he said, you really had me thinking my CTE was bad.
I remember that.
He said, man, Kyle, he said, I have enough problems without you adding more to the plate.
Yeah, I remember that now. That I just had the Independence Bowl team confused with the '83 team.
It's all good. There were two great teams, so
yeah, no doubt.
All right.
And one final thing we had here that Justin Butts sent me a little earlier this afternoon when the QA3, the Queen Anne's Revenge, rolled out. For folks who may not have already seen it on social media, here we go.
Pirate packs are coming. 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 Pirate packs are coming.
That was cool. Thank you, Justin, for that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys could hear my audio over that. Y'all remember
yes,
the Coke
we
commercial?
could.
Well, I'm glad I ruined it for you, Bubba. You guys remember the Coke commercial? The Santa packs are coming. Santa with the semi truck.
Yes.
Okay, good. Glad y'all got my humor and didn't appreciate it.
Let's see. Pace said I got pulled over in Mildridge. Is that how you pronounce it? Milledgeville, Georgia, one time, and the cop let me go because he played with Biner in high school.
Oh, awesome. How did you bring that up, Pace? Did you just have on ECU apparel, or how did you even get to that point? You had to have on East Carolina apparel.
Yeah, Pace probably did. Yeah, Biner is, one of the all-time greats. And the 83 team and 96, Matt's 96 team are two of my all-time favorites and never went to a bowl, which is totally ludicrous. But anyway, that's another show. He saw his ECU license plate.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how he got the connection. But, yeah, that's cool. Biner got you out of a ticket.
So it wasn't crying or doing other things to get out of this ticket.
Yeah, Pace didn't have to show us cleavage.
Yeah. It's pecs. All right. You guys have anything before we go?
Or it's Pecker. No, I don't have anything except that last line I just got in.
Man.
Oh, man. Thank God we're not monitored by the FCC on this show.
You can say Pecker. That's okay. That's you can get away with that on radio.
Yeah, that one's all right. That's timid compared to, some of the other things that have been said on the show, but it's all good.
No Diddy.
It's the beauty of doing a podcast, right? We don't have to worry about that stuff.
To a point. You can, I have got out of hand with it at times where
Dave just had a heart attack when those words came out of my mouth.
What's that? I have gone too far with it at times. Tonight would not be one of those times, but there are times where I've gone too far. I'll admit that. But no FCC guidelines with podcasts. Thank God.
Nobody trolling, so it gets caught.
Well, you know what, and that's me. You know what, that's on me. I should have ignored that night. And
we learned about
the worst part about that is when it was archived on YouTube. And let's see, for those of you watching and listening, unless your comments are put up on the screen, and now if you're commenting on Facebook, they'll stay unless you manually delete them. But if you're commenting on YouTube, unless they're put up on screen, when you go back and watch the archive, they're not there. So it looked like I was arguing and yelling. It looked like I had a case of Tourette's. It looked like I was just yelling and arguing with myself.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Thanks, Dave Barnett from North Texas, the play-by-play voice. We'll see how the Pirates do. Good luck to them as QA3 going down to Denton, Texas. And thank you to all we had a big show tonight, as always. A lot of people commenting, listening, watching. So appreciate Matt and Kyle and Bubba very much. Thanks, Bubba, for behind the scenes as well. Appreciate all you do. We'll get out of here. Good luck to the Pirates. We'll be watching and listening on Saturday. And guys, we'll have a lot of fun doing that. And we'll have, of course, the Pirate football playback on Sunday night. Hope you guys have a great night.
The Boardwalk Bash, the Boardwalk Empire,
Boardwalk Battle.
That starts tomorrow. The Pirates in the tournament down in Daytona. So good luck to the Hoops team playing well right now.
No doubt. And congratulations to our Lady Pirates. They set a record today. Over 6,800 ladies, 6,800 people were in Williams Arena today to watch the education game, as they call it. And the Pirates beat Howard today convincingly. So Kim O'Neill's team got a big win today. So congratulations to them. We'll get out of here. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.